picture this. You sit down at your favorite local spot. Maybe it's that little burger joint down the street, or like the family-run sushi place you hit up every Friday.
Oh, yeah, the usual spots.
Right. So you settle into the booth, and right there in the middle of the table, staring back at you, is a QR code.
Always.
And it's not just, scanning to see a PDF menu anymore. They are practically begging you to download their very own proprietary food delivery app.
Yeah, boom, 10% off your first order right there on the little cardboard table tent.
Exactly. It feels like overnight, every single local eatery just suddenly decided they needed to become a tech startup.
It really does. I mean, it's not just an illusion, right? And it's certainly not them just trying to clutter up your phone's home screen. We are witnessing this massive fundamental shift in how the restaurant industry operates behind the scenes.
Which is exactly what we are unpacking today. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. We've got a comprehensive business guide titled Create Your Own Food Delivery App. And the mission for today's deep dive is to get into the hidden economics of this whole industry.
Because, frankly, local restaurants aren't doing this for fun.
No, definitely not. They are executing a highly specific playbook to bypass the giant third-party platforms, your Uber Eats, your DoorDash.
Right. And to understand why a local diner is suddenly getting into software development, you really just have to look at the sheer scale of the market. The online food delivery space was projected to hit a staggering $1.39 trillion by 2025.
Right. Trillion with a T.
Trillion with a T. It's massive. And I mean, if you think about your own phone right now, you probably have 2, maybe 3 delivery apps sitting in 100 stomachs.
3, yeah.
Right. And that habit is shared by over 60% of consumers who are ordering food online every single week. Yeah, so this is no longer just like a luxury service. It is a fundamental weekly habit for the vast majority of the population.
Okay, let's unpack this, because if 60% of people are already ordering weekly, they already have those massive third-party apps installed, right?
Right, they do.
Those platforms have millions of active users. They completely dominate the market. So if I'm a local independent burger joint, why on earth would I go through the immense hassle, the upfront cost, and frankly, the massive headache of building my own custom software from scratch?
Yeah.
Why not just leverage the audience? It's already sitting right there.
Because of what we can call the big squeeze. I mean, when a restaurant lists itself on a third-party app, they are absolutely getting that built-in exposure.
Sure.
It's undeniably great for short-term visibility, but the cost of that visibility is just punishing. Those platforms charge exorbitant commission fees, usually ranging from like 15 to 30% on every single order.
Up to 30%. I mean, that is a massive chunk of change in an industry that is notoriously famous for having razor-thin profit margins. Think about it. You sell a $20 burger, and the app skims $6 right off the top before you've even paid for the beef or the bun or, the cook's hourly wage, or even just the electricity to run the grill.
It's just unsustainable for long-term growth. But the financial hit is actually, it's really only half of the squeeze.
Only half. What's the other half?
The other half, and arguably the more important half in the digital age, is the data. When you order through a third-party app, the platform retains all of your crucial customer data.
Oh, right.
The restaurant making your food doesn't actually know who you are. They don't have your email address. They don't know your ordering frequency. They can't see that you specifically order spicy tuna rolls every second Friday.
The platform owns the relationship.
Exactly. The platform owns it. By contrast, building an in-house app completely flips this dynamic.
So it's basically a real estate play, isn't it? Yeah. Being on DoorDash is like renting a stall in a giant mall food court.
Oh, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, like, sure, you get all the foot traffic from people already wandering around the mall, but the landlord is taking 30% of your register, and you have no idea who your customers actually are once they walk away.
Right.
Building your own app is just buying your own plot of land. It costs way more upfront to, pour the foundation and build the walls, but you own the equity, you own the front door, and you keep 100% of the profits from the burger.
That is a perfect way to visualize it. You are buying the land. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, to put the value of that land into perspective, in 2023, 2.85 million people globally used food delivery apps.
Unbelievable.
Having direct, unfiltered access to even a tiny localized fraction of that audience without paying a 30% toll on every single transaction is a literal goldmine. It allows restaurants to implement direct remarketing, push customized loyalty programs, and actually, speak directly to their regulars.
Okay, so owning the digital land is clearly the much better long-term play. But wanting the land and building the building are two very different things.
Very different.
If a local diner isn't backed by Silicon Valley venture capital, how are they actually building this? Obviously, they need to stand out. If I'm going to download yet another app, there has to be a compelling reason.
Absolutely. You have to give the user a reason to cross that friction threshold of going to the App Store. The big players already established their territory based on very specific strengths.
Like what?
While the source notes at foodpanda, for instance, captured massive market share by leaning heavily into behavioral tracking to offer incredibly tailored, personalized suggestions.
Okay, makes sense.
And Uber Eats leveraged their massive, pre-existing global network of drivers to guarantee rapid delivery times. A local spot obviously can't compete with global logistics, so they have to compete on the in-app experience.
Right. And our source material suggests some wildly creative features to make a custom app sticky. We're talking way beyond just a digital menu and Apple Pay.
Oh yeah, way beyond.
It recommends integrated bill splitting, so roommates don't have to Venmo each other, multi-language support, virtual 3D tours of the physical restaurant, and even virtual food tasting.
Yeah, the virtual food tasting.
Which, frankly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, the goal is to offer an immersive, highly specific experience that a giant generic aggregator simply cannot provide for thousands of different restaurants.
It's all about engagement. But out of all the features recommended to build into these custom apps, there is one that seems completely counterintuitive at first glance, but it's actually a masterclass in understanding user behavior.
Yes. Here's where it gets really interesting. The literature heavily recommends building offline accessibility into the app. And I have to push back on this.
Here for it.
Wait, offline accessibility for an online food delivery app?
Yeah.
How does that even work? If I'm offline, my phone isn't connected to the internet.
Right.
If I don't have internet, I literally cannot send an order to the restaurant server. What is the point of a delivery app that works offline?
It's a brilliant insight into how to reduce user friction. Offline access doesn't mean, magically transmitting an order without a signal.
Okay.
It's about local data caching. It allows users to browse high-resolution images of the menus, check portion sizes, look at dietary information, and access the restaurant's physical location or phone number even when they have 0 bars.
Oh, so it's about capturing the decision-making process before the transaction even happens.
Exactly. Think about someone riding the subway home from work. They have a 20-minute commute underground with spotty or just non-existent cell service, and they are planning their dinner.
Right, they're starving.
Exactly. If your app requires a constant server connection just to load the homepage, it crashes or it hangs, and they just close it and move on.
Yeah, I've done that a million times.
But if they can browse your entire menu offline, select their items, build their cart, and then just hit order the exact second they step above ground and get a signal back, you've captured a sale you otherwise would have lost. Furthermore, it massively reduces the operational burden on the restaurant because customers can find answers to basic questions like hours of operation or vegan options without needing to call up a busy host stand.
That makes total sense. You're removing every possible barrier, but still adding offline caching, payment splitting algorithms, virtual tours. I mean, this sounds like you need an army of engineers. A family-run sushi place doesn't have an IT department. How does the code actually get written?
And that right there is the true catalyst for this entire movement. The reality is these businesses don't even need developers anymore. We are in the middle of what the tech world calls the no-code revolution.
How does it actually work in practice? Like for a restaurant owner?
Well, instead of typing out thousands of lines of Python or Swift, no-code app builders provide a highly intuitive visual interface. A restaurant owner simply logs into a platform and they drag and drop elements onto a simulated phone screen.
So it's visual.
Exactly. They say, I want a checkout button here. I want my brand colors to be navy blue and gold. I want a carousel of my appetizers right here. And in the background, the no-code engine automatically translates those visual choices into complex back-end server requests, API integrations, and database structures.
That's incredible.
It completely democratizes app creation, bringing the power of enterprise-grade custom software down to the local level.
Okay, so no-code makes it physically possible for a small business to build the app without hiring a coding genius. But let's look at the reality of the finances. Because if they aren't paying the 30% aggregator fee anymore, how are they actually making money on this platform? And how are they fronting the cash to build it in the first place?
Building the app is only half the battle, right? Keeping it profitable requires getting really creative with monetization. Since they aren't relying on a third-party aggregator, they implement their own revenue structures. The most straightforward is simply charging a flat delivery fee directly to the consumer, which covers the logistics while keeping the restaurant's margins on the actual food completely untouched.
Which is great for a single restaurant. But the source material talks about other models too, right?
Right. Some local entrepreneurs are actually building apps that act as localized aggregators for several businesses in a single neighborhood. In that case, they might use a subscription model.
Interesting.
Yeah, instead of taking a 30% cut of every order, they charge other local merchants a flat, predictable monthly fee to be listed on the app. The more successful the restaurant is, the more money they actually keep. Others are even selling digital advertising space inside their own apps to local vendors.
That all sounds incredibly profitable once it's up and running. But then we hit the section on costs. And the numbers, frankly, seem all over the place.
Yeah, they really are.
The analysis states that adding complex, custom features can push the initial build cost anywhere from $30,000 to well over $100,000. Right. Just the graphic design and user interface alone can run up to $20,000.
Yeah, it adds up fast.
And if you want the app to be available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store for Android, that requires parallel development, which adds another $20,000 to $50,000 per platform.
It is a massive capital expenditure if you go the fully custom route.
But then, right at the end of the documentation, there's a note claiming that building a basic DoorDash clone could cost somewhere between $12,000 and $16,000. And I have to push back harder on this.
Okay.
Hold on. A basic clone for $12 grand? But you just said design alone could cost 20. If I'm a restaurant owner, 12 grand sounds like a massive bait and switch if I'm going to get hit with hidden server fees and glitchy code 3 months down the line. Aren't restaurants just trading the rent of a 30% commission fee for a massive, unpredictable digital mortgage?
You are hitting on the central tension of this entire strategy. Yes, it absolutely is a digital mortgage, and the $12,000 quote is often a bait and switch.
I knew it.
The discrepancy in cost really comes down to utilizing a rigid, pre-built, no-code template versus hiring an agency for a bespoke build. But you're right to be skeptical because the initial build is only the down payment. The reality of software is that it rots.
Software rots. What does that mean?
It means it requires constant upkeep. The source explicitly warns about the ongoing financial reality maintenance, server hosting, and mandatory updates will cost an additional $5,000 to $15,000 every single year.
Every year.
Every single year. Think about it. Every time Apple pushes a new iOS update to your phone, background APIs change. If your custom app isn't updated to match, it suddenly crashes the moment a customer tries to open it.
Right.
Security patches need to be applied constantly. Server capacity has to scale up if you suddenly get a rush of orders on Super Bowl Sunday, otherwise the whole system goes down.
Wow. So you build it, and you're still paying $5 to $15 grand a year just to keep the lights on inside the app.
Exactly. And the most daunting challenge isn't even the code or the server costs, it's the marketing hurdle. The sheer difficulty of getting a consumer to change their behavior in an overloaded digital era is immense.
Right, because I already have DoorDash on my phone.
Exactly. You might have a beautiful, flawlessly coded $30,000 app, but DoorDash and Uber Eats have billion-dollar marketing budgets and massive brand inertia. Getting a customer to actually stop what they are doing, go to the App Store, search for your specific app, wait for it to download, create a new account, and input their credit card information. I mean, it's a massive mountain of friction.
Okay, let's say they clear that mountain. Let's say you're the restaurant owner. You take out the digital mortgage, you build the app, you get the customer to download it while they're on the subway using the offline menu, and they hit order. All right, the digital side worked flawlessly. But now we have to pivot to the physical world. Because none of this cloud infrastructure, none of this data ownership, and none of this slick user interface matters if the food arrives cold and soggy.
The physical and logistical realities are exactly where many of these custom platforms fail entirely. You can digitize the transaction, but you cannot digitize a cheeseburger.
Nope.
The source highlights several major analog bottlenecks. First is the logistical nightmare of maintaining timely deliveries during the dinner rush. You need complex, real-time route optimization to keep drivers moving efficiently. Second is dealing with the unpredictable pricing models of gig economy drivers or competing delivery services.
But the most universal challenge mentioned is the physical drop in food quality. And I have to laugh at the irony here.
It is pretty ironic.
We're talking about utilizing complex machine learning algorithms, building virtual 3D restaurant tours, scaling global cloud infrastructure, and the biggest threat to this entire trillion-dollar industry is literally a pothole ruining a pizza.
It's so true.
The physics of transport are brutal. Road bumps, rapid acceleration, vibrations from the car, all of it physically stresses the food. All this high-tech software is ultimately at the mercy of a bumpy road.
It's the ultimate reality check. To mitigate that physical degradation, the restaurant has to invest heavily in high-quality packaging, specialized venting to prevent French fries from getting soggy with condensation, and thermal insulated bags for the drivers. It adds an entirely new layer of operational cost and complexity that has absolutely nothing to do with software.
So how does a local business actually navigate this? You've got the digital mortgage, the massive marketing friction, and the physical pothole problem. It seems impossible.
Well, let's look at the real-world case study from the text to see how a company actually threads this needle. They highlight a delivery platform called Snap Delivered.
Okay.
Snap Delivered had successfully built their app, but they were struggling with two massive operational issues. First, expanding their geographical reach without bankrupting themselves on development costs. And second, rider management.
Wait, managing physical drivers? I thought the whole point of leveraging no-code and digital platforms was making the business more streamlined. It sounds like they solved the digital ordering problem only to accidentally turn themselves into a local taxi dispatch company.
That is exactly what happens. Coordinating human beings driving cars in real-time traffic is incredibly complex. Snap Delivered realized they couldn't afford to build a custom logistics and GPS tracking engine from scratch.
So what did they do?
So they solved the problem by partnering with an open-source solution provider named Enatega.
How does open source actually solve that?
Think of open source software like a massive public library of pre-written code that anyone can use, modify, and build upon. Instead of spending hundreds of thousands of dollars coding a driver tracking system from zero, they tapped into this open source foundation.
Oh, that's smart.
It's like buying a prefabricated house frame. They took a free, highly tested, pre-built infrastructure for route optimization and rider management and just slapped their own customized branded roof on it. By utilizing Enatega's open source framework, Snap Delivered was able to instantly implement an advanced fleet management system, optimize their driver routes, and expand their service area, all while achieving financial sustainability because they didn't blow their budget on ground-up software development.
Okay, so they used open source foundations to stabilize the back-end dispatching, which freed up their capital to focus on the physical food quality.
Exactly.
But that still leaves the marketing problem. How do you get the customers over the friction of downloading the app in the first place?
Oh.
Super Bowl commercials.
Not at all. It requires highly localized grassroots marketing. It's about capturing the captive audience. You provide heavy, immediate incentives like exclusive menu items or steep discounts to the first 100 people who download the app.
Okay, yeah.
You print physical flyers and drop them in the bag of every single takeout order. And most effectively, you place QR codes directly on the tables in the physical dining room. You catch the customer when they are already sitting there enjoying the atmosphere and thinking about the food. You make it a frictionless impulse decision.
And there it is. We are right back where we started at the beginning of this deep dive.
Yeah.
The next time you sit down at your local diner or that sushi place down the street and you see that QR code offering you 10% off your first order on their brand new proprietary app, you will know exactly why it's there.
Exactly.
It isn't just a gimmick, it is a calculated rebellion. They're actively fighting back against the 30% commission squeeze. They are reclaiming their customer data, and they are utilizing scalable, no-code tech and open-source frameworks to take back ownership of their digital land.
They are buying the plot of land instead of renting the stall. But, stepping back to look at the entire industry, this shift leaves us with a really profound, lingering question. As open source platforms and no-code builders continue to advance, making it incredibly cheap and remarkably easy for every single independent local restaurant to launch a world-class custom app, will the giant aggregate platforms eventually lose their dominance? Or will those massive tech giants simply pivot? Will they look at this trend, abandon the consumer-facing app game entirely, and instead become the invisible back-end logistics and delivery fleets powering everyone else's white label apps?
Now that is a fascinating thought. Imagine a world where DoorDash doesn't even exist as an app on your phone anymore. They just quietly provide the network of drivers for the 100 custom restaurant apps you do have. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep looking closely at those QR codes on the table and keep questioning the hidden systems running the world around you. We'll catch you next time.